We're back having our conversation with Dr. Sarah Jane Corke. She is an associate professor at the University of New Brunswick. Dr. Corke, I was talking about this most recent ISIS, or reportedly an ISIS attack in New Orleans, obviously loss of American life, and obviously inspired by ISIS, if not directed by ISIS. Is that an intelligence failure in and of itself?
I don't think it's an intelligence failure per se. What's happening right now, and this is a really interesting question that you've raised. I just was talking to Sue Gordon last week. Sue Gordon is was the principal deputy of national intelligence under Dan Coates, and we were talking about the shift that has occurred in the American intelligence community over the last decade or so. And the point she made to me is that American intelligence that had once been shaped by external forces, and the primary responsibility of the CIA was to deal either with the Cold War or ISIS abroad. Now, the primary target of American intelligence is what's happening at home.
Right.
And that means there's a shift. So, what it means is that the CIA has to sort of take a little bit of a backseat to other intelligence agencies, like, for example, the FBI or the National Security Agency or Homeland Security. So it's a shift that's in process. I don't have I can't tell you to what extent we are all on the other side now, or whether we're still negotiating, because to move intelligence agencies is very difficult, right? They're huge bodies. And so that shift, I think, is contributing perhaps to us thinking that it was an intelligence failure, where
Right.
we're just trying to get a handle on domestic intelligence. And the CIA is bound by law not to collect intelligence on Americans.
Right.
So, but the world is changing. And so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
It will be interesting to see. One of the criticisms, I don't know whether it's fair, and maybe you haven't been following it, but was that the intelligence community was concentrating more on white nationalists and that ilk, rather than ISIS, thinking that ISIS was already defeated. Do you think that's a fair accusation?
I think you're really getting into to a gray area where it's very difficult between external threat, internal threat. And
Right.
I think that we're still at that point where the dynamics to investigate those things aren't completely worked out yet.
Got it.
So yeah, but yeah, I think you'll see more of an impetus on the FBI and the National Security Agency and Homeland Security to meet the domestic threat that the United States is now facing.
Right.
And
Right.
that's
Um, uh, Obviously, another topic that is current right now is TikTok, as an example, whether that's a national security threat or not. So that's being debated in the courts and at the political level. But basically, we have a whole lot of these new apps and social media that have altered the ability of malign groups to organize. Let's put it that way. Do you think that that changes intelligence gathering as a result of these
oh, of
apps and
course.
social media? Yeah, tell us more about
Of
that.
course, I think yeah, I think actually in my conversation with Sue Gordon, she came back to that idea as well, that the technological revolution that has gone on between 2005 when the DNI was set up and 2025 is just extreme, right? So that we have all these new companies and all these new technologies that we can't actually manage. I mean, how do you manage an online platform from China and get the average eighth grader to understand that they shouldn't be posting on it, right?
Right.
It's really tricky. It's a huge problem, and we're seeing it again because I just noticed yesterday in the New York Times, um, the TikTok case is going to trial, but now China has released another app that everybody is globbing onto, right? So I mean, it's a war for people's attention.
Yeah, definitely whack-a-mole is happening. There's no question about it. And do you think that the public is aware of the dangers enough?
No, no, I really don't. I think, well, yeah, if you just look at the last election, in the United States, um, what was known to people who read the papers and watch the news seemed to be very different than what was known from people who either had took part in Twitter or
Right,
watched
right.
Fox. We now have different silos of information, and we all stick to our own group. There's some of people are on Blue Sky, and then some people on X, and then you don't talk, right?
Right.
So the other side never hears important and salient facts.
Yeah, you seem to be definitely aware of some of our challenges. There's no question. As a society, I'm talking about. So I appreciate
We're
that.
in a really comfortable place right now.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to have another little break. Dr. Cork will be back at you after these messages.